Different. I'm sitting at Jenny's home. Her husband's nearby, her dog Ranger's fortifying the perimeter. 3 chickens are wandering the yard, and my 6-year-old son, this is an edit, is not having the greatest day of his life because he's already been scratched by the dog. But he is now having the greatest part of his life over here using temporary
air dry clay,
at which he's completely ignoring us, so it must be awesome. So, anyway, this does feel pretty much perfect considering my guest, because yoga isn't just something that Jenny teaches at the gym, it's something that she does seem to live. Jenny teaches multiple yoga groups and is known not only for her instruction, but for her energy that she brings into a room. She's one of the most naturally uplifting people I've met in a while. A yoga instructor, performer, creative spirit. She's thoughtful, hilarious, and somehow managed to explain yoga poses in a way that even stiff middle-aged men like myself can seem to understand. But what stood out most to me wasn't flexibility or technique, it was passion. The genuine joy she has for helping people feel better physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever version of better they walked in needing that day. And during my highly sophisticated investigative journalism, also known as scrolling, I learned also that she dabbles in modeling, performance, and creative expression in general. Please welcome to the Hub, Jenny.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming. I appreciate you and your patience throughout all of this. I've actually got a kid here, technical issues, and everything else you could think of, and Miss Jenny has been nothing but helpful. So far, so bad. Let's go.
I get it. We're both creatives.
And everything's always all over the place. All right, so let's get to it. Once again, thank you for inviting us into your home. This is crazy. I've done pop-up podcasts in locations, but never actually in someone's home. But like I said, what I was missing in that intro is that it seems completely fitting to do this with you, because your personality is totally like inviting and the type of person that I would feel invited to come over. So thank you for that.
Totally. I feel like my home is such a huge part of my personality too. So you can get a little taste of what it's like everyday life here. So you got to meet all the animals, most of the animals except for the cat, and just you kind of like vibe with the space.
Dope. So how did it all begin? Was it childhood, basic creativity? Was yoga first, last?
Okay, so I feel like every branch of Jenny has its own story, but let's stick with the yoga variation. So technically, my mom took me to my first yoga class when I was like 16, and like, you know, I was just 16 and going to yoga with my mom like one time, and it was cool. I thought it was cool she was doing that. Didn't really care. But then I actually broke my neck diving in shallow water whenever I was 18.
Whoa.
Yeah, so okay. That's actually where it began. So I had, you know, our family had issues like a lot of families have, you know, in my childhood, more like my teenagehood. So it was like 16 to 18, but whatever, you know. But as a result of that, I think I got into drinking and, you know, hanging out and kind of getting into trouble like a lot of kids do. And I kind of stayed on that path into college like a lot of kids do. And I was partying as an underage person, and I dove off of a dock into shallow water and I broke my spine.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so that's what happened. And that night I swam to the top and I thought, well, I'm alive. So I didn't even really get checked out or anything. I just kept living my life for a couple of days. And then my grandmother, who's a nurse, saw me and she's like, oh, you're going to the hospital. Went to the hospital, and I was like in a rural area too. They sat me down and I'm just kind of like sitting there. And again, I was like walking around playing beer pong after this happened, you know? And I knew it happened.
Adrenaline's a biscuit.
It was crazy, but I hit the ground and it's like I saw it in my soul. I knew it happened, but I was scared. You know, I'm insecure. I'm a child, basically, like barely an adult. And I swam to the top. So I thought, okay, like whatever. Like I'm just going to pretend like that didn't happen. Right. So they sit me in this room and they say, Jennifer, like you need to wait here. Like you've broken your neck and you might be paralyzed. So of course I freaked out, you know. And then they rushed me down to Pittsburgh, and it turns out that I had broken C6 and C7. I got a fusion actually right here. Like there's a scar somewhere right here, and he did a real good job. It's like right in the fold. I thought I would have like a cool, gnarly, like Frankenstein scar, but it's very delicate. And really throughout, I wore a neck brace for about a year and a half. And I still didn't really grasp what had happened to me, because at that point in my life, I just sort of was that lost kid that didn't really care. I wasn't looking for myself, but I was looking for something. I was, still, I think, healing in a lot of ways, but that woke me up, because then when the neck brace came off, I didn't have health insurance, and somebody pointed out to me that I couldn't turn my head. They said, "Did you know that you can't move your head?" And I said, "No." So I Googled yoga, and that's the story. That's how the story goes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. That is not what I was expecting. Like, all right, there goes the whole I ran across a karate school and walked in nonsense. That's insane.
I had a severe injury, and I Googled yoga, and in particular, I found Bikram yoga. And I went to my first class. It was, and really this is sick too, like the self-loathing teenager that I was. I did go to belly dance classes because I knew I had to do something to find myself as an adult. And I heard one of my teachers saying, like, I did the 30 days. I hated it. It was awful. And I thought to myself, I have to try that, which is kind of sick. Again, like that kid that needed to be healed. But then sure enough, for some reason, I stuck with it. Now that was in California that I took my first Bikram yoga class, and then I moved back to Pennsylvania. And there wasn't any belly dancing in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where I wound up, but there was Bikram yoga, and that is how the story goes. I went every day for 4 years, and my studio owner said, "Jenny, you need to go to teacher training." And I said, "No, absolutely not." Like I was crazy in there, but nobody knew it because it was just me on my mat. And she said, "Yeah, what if I help you pay for it?" And then I said, "Okay." So and that's how I became a teacher.
That's exactly awesome. Oh my God. And it's funny because you literally answered almost every variation of question that was coming up. It was going to be, when did it become more than exercise? It never was. Biggest mentors, it sounds like somebody kind of helped to push you along into it.
Yeah, I think I've had some great studio owners, and yeah, I've had some great leadership in yoga. That's really if it weren't for that studio owner, Deneen in Lancaster, she saw something in me that I absolutely had no idea existed. I didn't know it was in there, but she saw it and she sent me, and it's a good thing that she did because I've been doing it now for 14 years. It's my 14th year anniversary in June, so just last month.
Congratulations on that. Happy anniversary. I know your marriage is a year too also. So a life or death neck breaking situation like that, yoga, is there a spiritual or a mental moment that happens there too? Because you said you were kind of a hard hit. Like, I
Absolutely.
totally feel you. I've got a similar story. The scar on my hand is me flipping a truck.
Can we hear it?
Yes, sure, absolutely. And then we're getting back to yours. But okay, so I'm 19, very similar. I was a decent kid, football, decent grades, all that, but I took to drinking young. And one night I used my brother's ID, and I went. And we went to the club, and one thing led to another, and I left when I didn't have any business driving, and my brother was in the passenger seat, and flipped my truck onto the side, and my arm was hanging out of the truck, and I've got this scar here. You probably can't see it. It's healed a lot, but it's from like my
I can
knuckles
see it.
all the way down here to my wrist. And it's like I could have lost that arm. It could have been this. It could have been that. Like,
wow.
It was bad. Plus, it turned into a lot of other things and issues with the law and blah, blah, blah. But again, I did bad things. I had issues after that, but that one right there was like, I consider myself the best spokesperson for don't drink and drive. Like, in the realest way, you know what I'm saying?
That's incredibly lucky, and it's great that you had that, I feel like, the light bulb moment. So certainly after I broke my neck, again, a year with that neck brace on, it didn't like, I don't want to say faze me. What's the word? It didn't sink in how close I was to losing my life, because I don't think I cared about my life enough at that point. Right. But then, yes, the spiritual part of yoga, eventually got the mobility back in my neck, and looking in the mirror doing yoga, I was like, girl, you got a lot of other problems that you got to work on in here. And I felt my soul healing and my self-esteem healing and forgiveness and, you know, self-realization and all those things that you have to work on for the rest of your life. But that was the first time that I learned that, like, I have to do this and I have to do it now. And there's so much potential in me, not just what I've been through,
right?
You know?
Right. And sometimes, especially for, I think, I don't want to say hard-headed, but for...
You can say it.
For hard-headed types, you know, like you, like me, like us, like probably a lot of people out there, you need something that jars you.
I always say breaking my neck was one of the best things that ever happened to me because thankfully I got into yoga really young. So I was 19 when I started. And that's a huge gift in itself. Yeah, and then it put me on the path of just wellness, because when I figured out that I liked exercising and I liked feeling good and I liked healing, then I stuck with it. Even though it's taken me a long time and I still work on it every single day, I realized that it's actually pretty fun.
Absolutely. I just want to let you know, son, I just won't say your name, and you can talk whenever you want to talk. If you want to ask a question or something, feel free. And, you know, you just can't be in the shot and stuff like that.
I just have a question for you.
For me?
What was that little clay thing that I saw in the stuff when I was putting the glue up?
The glue.
Because it was down on its side.
Clay thing.
Oh, is it something that I made of clay?
Ooh, cool. Maybe she can show you.
You can bring it over and then I can tell you.
There you go.
There's all kinds of weird things in the art closet that you can find.
All right. So I'm trying to promote that he has his voice and he can.
I love that too. I love that he's digging
around.
through the art closet right now, which is very unorganized chaos in there.
Yeah.
We're doing some air dry clay and making some art over there, which is great. I love it.
Yeah, I'm just not comfortable with the facial, but he can talk and be around and all that. I like him knowing he's in a.
That is a cat face that I made.
Oh, it's like a mask almost.
Yeah.
There you go.
Perfect.
There you go. It looks just like you. Thank you, son. We needed that. All right. Thank you. Were you always this positive?
I think so. I think like somewhere in there. Like, it's hard to say, but I think so. Yeah, I can't think of a moment when I went from negative to positive. Definitely negative behaviors. Again, with the break and plenty of other mistakes that I've made. But I think that in general, I'm actually an optimist to a flaw.
Right.
Yeah, actually, I would say it's almost a flaw sometimes, because I tend to always see the good in things and good in people, and it's gotten me in trouble too. But that's trouble that I'm down to deal with, because you can't change that. I'm not going to be jaded.
I've been hard to get over, like, still loving on people.
Yeah.
Even though you're like all jaded about it and stuff, you're like, well, it's really the best thing I can do, and it's like the only thing I'm really good at, and like I think it's what I'm here for, so I should probably lean into it even if it's hard.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I will, I see flaws in people, and sometimes I've tried to love it out of them, and I can't, but I did my best, And even sometimes too, like, I think of times in my life when I was maybe having some trouble, or I was like lost on my path, and people have loved me, and maybe I didn't respond the way that they hoped. But you still look back at those times and think, that person cared about me. And maybe in the moment I didn't get it, but down the road they will.
And sometimes you see the best in people when they don't see it in themselves. Like, some people are like, like even with this, I'm like, no, you should check this out. Like, I'd like to, and I'm not cool. My podcast doesn't have a ton of viewers. It's not like that. But I just like, you're interesting. What you do is cool. And people are genuinely surprised sometimes, I think, to hear that.
The couple episodes I did listen to, I picked subjects that I didn't think I was going to be into just for our listeners, and immediately I went through the whole thing, just like burned it up. So, yeah, I agree.
Oh, you listen? Cool.
Yeah. Well, I had to get ready to see if I was going to get grilled or what was going to happen here.
Right, and it's totally not that yet. It's like, it's all love. It's really about just pointing people towards each other. What's up, son?
When this ends, can I play some music for the ending part? To make it cool?
I mean, I suppose. And I'm gonna go back and edit this and put music in it too. So, I mean, yeah, of course. I don't even know how you're gonna do it, but we'll think of something.
We should tell our viewers/listeners too, on the other side of the wall, there's instruments everywhere. So the creative juices are flowing down here.
Yeah, so everybody down here is getting into the next generation. Your teaching style, Jenny, is something that I immediately noticed. Me and your husband were just talking about it, and that I couldn't tell you what baklava or behavior yoga or Siddhartha or nothing. I couldn't tell you the name of a move besides Cobra maybe. But the way you explain things, it makes it doable. Like if you follow directions, you're able to do that because of how creatively you're able to explain movements and poses. You make it feel approachable and fun and not super intimidating. Is that naturally how you are, or is that a teaching style you learned?
I think that it's a little bit of both. So I didn't know that I was a teacher, and I think honestly, along from having some good support in yoga, but in my whole life, I've actually had a lot of bad teachers. I've had a lot of bad teachers, like in music and even in yoga. I've had some instructors that I would say now at this point I didn't agree with, but back then I didn't know any better.
Right.
And I learned a lot from them. Whenever I hit a block trying to be a student, I learned where I wasn't connecting or I wasn't getting it. And I pride myself in being a slow learner. Mm-hmm. Really, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think if you are a slow learner, you have to take your time. You really have to digest it and you have to understand it in order to move forward with it. So I try to make it as available as possible. And I like to speak in layman's terms, like something that everybody is going to understand. Now, as far as yoga goes, I think it helps that I had my injury too, because I also was not born able to touch my toes. I actually cheated on the presidential award with the V-sit. That's a different story. I love that story.
I love that story too, so you feel free to tell it. The V-sit, if you folks don't remember, in gym class, you had 4 or 5 workouts. You could explain.
Yeah, so the president, Bill Clinton, would send you a little document that said you completed the presidential. If you didn't get the presidential, you would get national, which was second best, second place, but you had to run the mile, you had to do the pull-up. I did everything, but one thing I couldn't do was touch my toes. And so you put your feet on a board and you reach over the board to touch your toes and they measure it. And I was like, okay, I got this in my little kid mind, and I went to touch my toes and I was like, boom, and my elbow was all the way up there, and all the little cheerleader girls was like, Jen, you can't do that. How's she doing that? Turns out, I think the gym teacher cut a hole in the board, so it was actually up to my knees, and I just cheated on that thing, and I got the document, and I realized after it happened that I cheated, but I was like, I'm not telling a soul. I'm getting that presidential award this time.
You got the document. That's all that matters. And for those of you that don't understand, Jenny's slightly on the taller side, so
I'm 5'9" and I'm all leg.
Might have been challenging a little bit at that time.
But then in my adult life, when I was 24, I learned to touch my toes, and now I can put my wrist. I'm easily categorized as a flexible person, which still in my mind I still can't comprehend after 18 years of yoga. But I earned it, and again, I'm a slow learner. I didn't get anything for free, but I think having a body that was so resistant, I guess, to flexibility. I don't think I had a lot of strength. I wasn't an athlete. I wasn't comfortable around people. All of those things that I love about yoga now, I didn't have, and I really had to earn. And I just want people to get there a lot faster than I did.
Yeah, I'm back. This is professional.
You want to look at, that's a clarinet in there.
A lot of people still think yoga is stretching and, maybe a little culty, and it's kind of a cliquey situation and only certain people do it. Like you said, inaccessible. What do you think is the biggest misconception people have about yoga?
I think that it can be culty and it can be for flexible people. I totally can see that. But also, it's just not true, and you've just got to find the space for it. So in my career as a yoga instructor, I've taught students as young as 6 and as old as 96. So you can be any age. And I was trained in Bikram yoga, which if you don't know Bikram yoga, you can watch it on Netflix. And again, you'll see it's a little culty there. But that being said, Bikram, one of his best quotes that's super famous for him is never too old, never too late to start from scratch and something like that. But never too old, never too late was kind of the slogan in that community. And I really believe in that. I really think that I got lucky because I was young, but I have had students who are 60 walking into their very first yoga class. Students that are super young walking into their first yoga class, they walk away from it for 10 years and then come back, you know? So it's always going to be there, and it's just up to you if you want to do it. And there's no finish line with yoga. So that's another great thing I think about fitness, but with yoga in particular, you're never going to finish your last class. It goes on and on forever. As long as you're doing it, it's there.
That's how I end up coming back to it. Between yoga and martial arts, I just kind of leave and come back. That's why you think I'm good at it. You're like, oh, he's good at it. Like, it's just that I stretch a lot.
Yeah. And flexibility too is being somebody who spent a lot of their life unflexible, but now I am flexible. It really does make your life easier. Like, you don't have to bend your knees to pick something up, that energy that you save and on your joints. And I didn't understand that. So if you're out there and you're one of my stiff friends, you're the one who's supposed to be coming to yoga.
Right. The stiffer the better.
The stiffer the better.
Yeah, that's true, because it makes a bigger difference. It's like going from not being able to run a mile to all of a sudden being able to run it, even if you do it in 15, 20 minutes. Like, it's a victory even more than a person who did it before. Like, it's crazy.
I just can't imagine not doing yoga at this point now because I'm so embedded in it. But how, another nice thing about yoga too is it does kind of stick in your body a little bit. Like, you can like kind of ebb and flow with it. But yeah, for all the yoga that I've done, the days that I'm stiff, I'm like, man, I can't imagine if I didn't do yoga, how stiff I would feel.
What do you mean? Like, do you mean in the sense that, like, if you take it off, if you're off for a month or a week, you're still gaining the benefit of it?
I think so.
So
I think if you practice yoga regularly, which, like, you're always trying to do it, but if you fall off that wagon for a month, if you get back in there, of course, your first class, you're going to be stiff, but pretty soon you'll say, oh, it's like my body remembers it. It wants to come back to that place of flexibility in space. It wants to open up like that. So that's what I like about it. I've never really been much of a weightlifter, although I fantasize about it all the time.
Right.
But, you know, I feel like you do all this work, and if you don't go for a month, then it just goes away and you have to start over.
But what you do, because you do power yoga, or I do power yoga with Jenny, and she also teaches other ones. Like, I know guys that can lift weights and that can do a whole bunch of other stuff, but what you teach would be near impossible.
Yeah.
Like, dead impossible for them. And people that are in really great shape.
Yoga is such a practical form of physical fitness too, because it doesn't tear you down. I mean, like it shouldn't. You can make mistakes and pull something here and there at yoga, which I've heard you've done before.
I think I have.
Because sometimes you really want to get it, and you've got to learn patience with your body. But it's not destructive. It's restorative. Even if it is power yoga, I think it's restoring your body every time you come. So you'll be sore, but it's like that good sore.
On behalf of my seafood, now that you mentioned the restorativeness of it, he seems to complain. I think he just has a beef with anything that's not kung fu or my particular style of whatever it is that I do and such. I think he just has beef with everything else. But he says it's not good for, he's like, yeah, your joints will be bad and your back will be bad in a few years. Keep doing yoga. Like, is there any truth to doing too much? Can you overdo it?
I think that, yeah, there's probably some truth to that in a way. I think if you become
just what you did to your own body kind of situation.
I think if you're hypermobile, so if you're somebody who is classified as flexible and you come to yoga, I think you're actually more at risk to hurt yourself than a flexible person, or than a non-flexible person, because you can pop something out of place or you don't feel your body. Like, if you're stiff, you feel every single moment of that stretch. I'm flexible now, so I don't feel it until I'm cranked up to like 11.
Right.
You know, so that's when I've made my mistakes, is whenever I'm trying to get past the threshold where really I need a boundary. And usually it's my ego. Like, I want to have the fanciest pose in the room or something like that. I'm not even going to play. Like, I want to have my leg the highest in the air or something like that. And that's where I've made the mistakes, because I don't feel anything until I've already crossed into that like red zone, that injure zone.
Yep, I think that's exactly what happens to me also. Wow, that's a good observation.
Yeah.
I never thought of it that way.
Definitely. And as far as like back and joints, I noticed that my joints hurt for the first time last week in my life, and I'm about to be 38. So I think that it's going pretty well. But I also said, okay, rather than thinking it's my body breaking down, what did I do last week? Well, I was eating a lot of sugar. It's pretty dehydrated. You know, I was sleeping in weird positions. I'm like, let's just try to get hydrated and keep exercising and see how it goes.
I'm noticing that those things as I get over, like, oh, what's wrong with me? Oh, yeah, I forgot I had a candy bar of some fruit.
I had a whole bag of
Coast
Twizzlers, not going to lie. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that's inflammation of some point. So, you know, having awareness of what you're putting in your body, not just how you're using it too, I think helps.
So all candy aside, wellness, fads, what's going on right now? What's your overall take on wellness in 2026? What works? What's snake oil? And what's new?
Okay, so I might get a lot of
It's a hot take.
hate for this. I don't know, but I think protein is way overhyped right now.
Oh, hold on. We got to cut. Cut. I don't know. Okay, tell me. I'm probably the person who needs to hear this.
Well, look, I think protein is great. Don't get me wrong, but I'm like, what about fiber though? Like, what, you know? I think if you're trying to hit these insane levels, because I tried it a couple of years ago. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get these like 80 grams of protein or whatever they're like recommending, and then it's so hard to stay in this caloric deficit or whatever your caloric intake needs to be, and not get the fiber. So I'm like, okay, I just don't know.
What benefit are you missing not having the fiber?
Like, your bowel movements are going to get screwed up. You're going to get...
Yeah, stay a little bit over here, son. I'm not sure if you're in it or not. I love you. But a lot of it has to do with, you know, things that help you pass parasites or certain stuff and this and that. And I feel like there's truth to it, because I notice the better that I keep my diet, the more normal my movements are, but also that eating a sugar or a thing of Sour Patch Kids, not that I do that.
Right?
My body literally says, sugar overload, you suck.
Yeah,
your body doesn't do that anymore.
My whole body last week, I'm telling you. I don't know what got into me with these Twizzlers, but it does every once in a while, and I suffer for it. So yeah, I think...
But your body physically now, like, it used to not know.
Yeah.
And now that I eat right and stuff, like, everything moves better, and it's like, hold on, there's an interruption in the movement, and it's an emergency because you entered something that don't belong there.
Exactly. It's like the more healthy your diet and your movement practice is, the more sensitive you are. And I feel like being sensitive is good. Sometimes when I was younger, I was a little jealous of sensitive people, because I'm like, I could eat whatever I wanted. I could do whatever I wanted to my body, and there's no repercussion. Now that I'm a little older, yes, there is. And I appreciate that, because that keeps me a little bit more motivated to take care of myself. But I guess as far as like trends go, I think protein is great. We need lots of it, but I don't know if we need as much of it as like all the hype is happening.
Don't sleep on your fiber.
That's just me. Yeah. Eat your fruits and your veggies. Like, you're not going to get too much sugar from eating your fruits and your veggies. If you eat Sour Patch Kids and Twizzlers, like, yeah, for sure. But just, you know, don't eat that and eat that mango, you know?
There you go.
In my opinion, but I'm not a professional in that. That's just what my gut says.
I diet about as well as I do podcasting. So it's not great. It's definitely winging it. Now, all right, I guess we're going to temporarily abandon inner peace and emotional balance and bowel movements because it's free time. This is the part of the show where our guest has a few options. Jenny, you've got 3 options, so namaste. And good luck. Option 1 is off the top. A freestyle poem or rap based on generated topics that I have right here. Option 2, on the spot. We could improvise a skit based on also some scenarios that I've got right here. Option 3 is always dealer's choice. If you've got any ideas or anything, I am always willing to participate, because I'm completely ignorant when it comes to those.
So I'm terrified, but...
And if none of those work for you, we can, for the shy types, we've got rapid fire questions to which you'd have quick answers to a few questions. Go.
I'm not sure if I'm categorized as shy, but I'm intrigued by the skit.
Oh, I'm intrigued by the skit grabber. So
Nobody picks that one?
all right. Folks, we are back, and our topics for, first of all, Miss Jenny chose to do a skit.
The hard one.
The hard one, definitely the hard one. Definitely the first or second most hard out of the three. That's like
Always I pick the hard way, the long way.
So we've got the options of a yoga instructor trying to calm people during a Black Friday sale, me attempting yoga while emotionally narrating every muscle pain, or a meditation retreat ruined by Broncos fans arguing nearby. We're going to choose option 3, a meditation retreat ruined by Broncos fans arguing nearby, with the caveat that Jenny here is
I'm a Steelers fan.
a Steelers fan.
So the Broncos are playing the Steelers. I'm a Steelers fan, and there are Broncos rowdy fans nearby, and I am going to teach a little meditation yoga class during.
Okay, there we go. So that makes me the rowdy fan. Actually.
Let's put one hand on our belly and one hand on our bleeding heart and have a deep breath in. It's gold, and a deep breath out. It's black. Deep breath in, winning 6 Super Bowls. Deep breath out, losing a lot of playoff games. Inhale
Broncos.
and exhale. Try not to think about your thoughts being stampeding horses. We want to clear the way.
Yes.
We want to clear the way for winning energy. We don't remember our past like John Elway. We remember the future that we're going to win.
What have they stolen?
We're going to win.
They haven't stolen Super Bowls.
In our hearts, in our minds.
They haven't stolen wins.
We're going to be strong and have no injuries in our body.
Firing stole their coach.
Oh. We don't know who our coach is right now, but we know it's going to be good. You are your own coach. You're your guide.
Go Broncos. Namaste.
Namaste.
I'll put music and make it worth listening to.
Exactly. That was hard, but that was fun.
We are back in action after another debacle here on the hub. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I have no idea how that turned out, how that's going to turn out, but we'll see how my editing wonders go. And thank you, Miss Jenny, for your participation.
So that was hard and weird and scary, but I got to say, that was kind of fun. It was fun. I haven't done something like that. I'm actually going to just have to try that next time I go to a Broncos game.
Yeah, let's see if you could just start a yoga retreat.
Oh yeah, see if I one of my favorite things to do though. I was a bartender at a point in my life, and they know I'm a yoga teacher. Is drunk people love to think that they can do yoga. They love
when
it.
They're drunk?
Oh yeah, and
yes.
every time they cannot. That's so spoiler alert. So maybe I should actually go down there and try it.
I feel like you should. You were speaking of emceeing. We should MC yoga at the bar.
MC yoga at the bar would be cool too. I love that.
Oh, we're not going to let you guys in on this. This is background information. You might get some invitations to something neat.
That's right.
So, back from our awesome performance. When I was looking through your information, I saw that you also dabble in modeling and performance work. Could you expound on that a little bit?
Yes. So, believe it or not, I was a very, very shy kid whenever I was growing up. And really, it was in high school that I realized I wasn't born to be shy. But I still had a lot of work to do. I did start teaching myself guitar in high school, and I wrote songs, but I would very sheepishly play in my closet, and no one would ever see that. But then, this is kind of sad, but I'm going to tell you the truth, okay? So it was 2011. So that's a year, 2010, 2011. So a year before I became a yoga instructor, but I practiced yoga. One of my friends became very ill, and I was so depressed about it that I kind of became very thin. I'm going to just go ahead and say heroin chic a little bit. It's how I looked. I was definitely, it was depression though, but I dropped some weight because I was really sad and worried about my friend. And then all of a sudden people were like, oh, like you should be a model. And I was like, really? Like, okay. No, I was always like a thinner person, but all of a sudden I started getting these pats on the back, and I met a photographer, and he's like, I got to set you up with your portfolio. And so I did. And that was like America's Next Top Model. Like that was like in at the time.
Okay.
And then I just discovered that I loved it, because when I model, I'm not Jenny anymore. I'm a persona, like I'm whoever the character is supposed to be.
Right.
And I just discovered that I loved collaborating. I love the camera. I love the costumes. I loved it. So I just got really, really into it. And that was one of my first big creative outlets is modeling. And then I think it was really good timing, because then when I became a yoga teacher, I wasn't so terrified to be in front of people.
Right. That's so cool, because there's so many different ways to kind of be creative, and you kind of explore all of them.
Yes.
And you got guts, kid. You
Thank
got guts.
you. And I feel that way now, but I've just been lucky, I guess, in my life to have also like Jose Urneto was my first photographer, and he saw me. I don't know how we discovered each other, but he totally created a safe, fun, positive experience for me where he's like just kind of egging me on, and I'm like loving it. And now I got a camera, and I want to like create that for other people too, because it's the best. It's so fun. Like, who doesn't love a good photo shoot?
So, another funny story. So I told you a little bit about my midlife crisis, my behind, and kind of my first time segments that I create. One of the first things that I did on Facebook, there was a modeling audition.
Yes.
So I went to this modeling audition. I went and bought a black shirt, some black pants.
Yes.
And walked in on this modeling audition and just did it and recorded little pieces and parts of it. Because the idea of this show, if you haven't noticed yet, is whoever you are, however you are, if you don't think you could do something, go try it anyway.
Yes.
The hardest part of anything is sucking at it. And the worst part of it is sucking at it. So...
And it's even the best part. Like I said, I'm a slow learner, but AKA, like, I suck at everything whenever I start, because you've never done it. And I used to, again, when I was younger, like, I thought there was some standard that I just should be good at things. You ain't gonna be good at it until you try it. So if you're just brave enough to get out there and like give it a shot, if you have fun, then like what do you have to lose? Except for a little time, maybe. And that's not wasted time. That's just like learning and growing. It's so fun to try something that scares you a little bit, like that skit.
Yeah, like that. And it's so cheesy to say like the lesson is in the journey, but like that's what I try to instill in him. It's like, you know, when you learn things, you're always mostly bad at it when you start. But it's until you get to that second, third, fourth, fifth time that you actually might get a grasp on it. You figure out what you want to pick up and what you want to put down. You know what I'm saying? And it gives you options.
And it makes your will so much stronger, because especially if I tease my husband because he's kind of good at everything first try, but I'm thankful that I'm not, because if I want to be good at it, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to wrestle with it until I get, you know, like at least a little bit of a grip.
That slow learner you talked about is interesting too, because I sort of take a similar approach. I don't ever, like other people get things quickly. I tend to take longer to get them, but I make less mistakes.
Yes.
I noticed. Is it similar with you?
Yeah, I think so. Just because I've put in the time, like, to make the mistake or like wrestle the mistake.
Or it doesn't bother you to make the mistake.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me, or I just like learn to understand the mistake rather than just hoping it doesn't happen again. Like I want to figure out like what's going on.
How'd that come about?
Yep.
Right.
Modeling too, I've learned all kinds of like goofy things just doing that. Like how to not make a weird face, or like I don't know, like all kinds of things. And you only learn from looking at bad pictures. That's the only way you're gonna know.
That's true.
You're only gonna know if you play a bad chord, like which one doesn't fit, unless you're, you know, you just have those ears. Some people are super blessed, but for me, like I feel like I learn so much from like the bad teachers, the mistakes, the bad note, the ugly picture. Those are the biggest opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. Between the yoga, performing, modeling, you kind of touched on it. You've seen firsthand kind of how people are hard on themselves, physically, mentally.
Totally.
What have you learned most about confidence on your journey that has helped you to come from a broken neck to 4 years in yoga, a tall girl who can't touch her toes, to a confident human embracing their talent and, you know, and willing to make mistakes in order to get better?
I think yoga probably taught me the art of just letting go of what is good, bad, what's right, wrong, what's, so I feel like moving through my life, yoga's taught me a lot of confidence because I'm really comfortable with falling out of the pose, with making a mistake. I'm very comfortable with not being perfect ever, but definitely not being perfect in the learning process. And I think I'm still hard on myself, I think, in some places, but I've just learned to let it go somehow. And I don't know what it is, but I always say to guys too, not to burn on the dudes too much, but like, yoga is like therapy, but you don't even have to talk to anybody. So, girls always want the guys to go to therapy. Just go to yoga and you don't even have to talk about it, because somehow the movement in your body and the relationship with yourself gets so strong, you don't even have to tell anybody what you're thinking. It just happens. So I feel like yoga has built my confidence without even really being able to put my finger on it. And it's because I'm comfortable in my body. I've gotten more comfortable in my head because I know what thoughts are real, which ones aren't. I can watch my own thoughts.
Right.
Like sometimes I get on these, everybody has that moment where you're like, I should have said this to that person, that. When I see that come up, I say, oh, there it is. There's that pathway that's not good for you. Like, move on to something else. And when I was first learning to do that, I would make like a jingle whenever I would notice I would be having negative, repetitive thoughts. And one of them was definitely, I'm going to wash those thoughts right out of my head. like something stupid. And then all of a sudden you're thinking about something else. So like, if you're somebody out there who's struggling with like a narrative that you're believing, which probably it's just repetitive thoughts that don't actually mean anything and they're not yours. They feel like yours because they're in your head, but really it's just chaos that you absorb. And I can prove to you that they're not yours. And that's any millennial that knows 1-800-SAVE-PHOTO. Like, that's not your thought, but why does that song get stuck in your head?
Right.
Or, like, why do those because they're pressed on you and you absorb it. I don't want to think about jingles from the 90s, but sure enough, they're in there.
That's true.
So then you know that that's not really something that you created. That's just something that's there that you have to manage.
And you're right, it's a lot of unlearning of perspective.
Yes.
Half of the time. Like I look at the innocence, like even in kids and things like that, and it's like they don't know the anger. Mm-hmm. They don't know the anxiety. They haven't had to experience it yet. And it's almost like life or us in a lot of ways puts it on them before they have to. It's like, just let them, almost, and we as adults almost need to do it too. Just let yourself relax. Be a kid, take the pressure off.
Be a kid too as an adult, I think, is so important in my life. Like, I'm always getting dirty or like doing something, that I just feel like it keeps my spirit young. I don't know if 38's old or young anymore, but I definitely like feel just as creative and excited about things. They just shift which direction you go, and I think it's because I'm definitely not afraid to like make fun a top priority in my life.
Yeah.
And like yoga should be fun, healing should be fun, all that stuff that you're doing. You could come to yoga, which I did for the first 4 years. Now remember, I'm healing from a neck brace. I'm a self-loathing teenager, basically. I like my belly dance teacher said, like, I thought you were supposed to be miserable and I thought it was supposed to suck as much as possible. And then one day I learned that that's totally on me. That was totally up to me. I didn't have to be like that the whole time. And then from that moment on, I thought, even if things are challenging and exhausting, they can totally be fun. That's up to you.
Absolutely. And the biggest story that you ever hear about yourself is the one that you tell yourself.
Yeah, so if you think you can't do it, then you're not going to be able to do it. And it doesn't matter what everybody else says, too, because I also think in my life, I've had a lot of people tell me no and that I can't. And that's stupid. I look back and I'm like, shame on those people, for saying that to me. But it's their own fears and their own projections. I get it now. But really, it's again, that's just some chaos out there that I could absorb. And since I learned to recognize true thoughts and just like that static with meditation, then that doesn't get in my way. And I think that's how I gain a lot of confidence, is I can see what's real and what's not.
Absolutely. What's real and what's not.
Hopefully. I'm striving for it.
Discernment's a heck of a thing, and we're not going to get it right every time, but effort is part of that challenge.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you, Jenny.
You're welcome. Thanks for asking.
Are there any up-and-coming events, any information that you'd like to get out there, anything that you'd like to, chat about before we go?
At this point in my life, I think I was eager for it too. I'm in a creative phase, so I'm not sure where I'm going next. I'm just kind of doing a little bit of everything. But what I'm most excited about creatively is that I have a little musical project going on. So I also had a band back in Pittsburgh, which is great. But right now in Colorado, I'm feeling more at home. I'm feeling that sense of community. We're writing music again, and we're writing music collaboratively. So I'm super excited about my musical group, but we don't quite have a band name yet. But whenever that comes, we'll get back to you.
Well, you guys can send your band name titles to the Instagram.
Yeah. If you have any suggestions, we love that. So yeah, I'm excited about writing music. I'm excited. I just got a bunch of new animals too. So I got 3 chickens. I just got a puppy. I got a big garden outside. So I think I'm just doing like a progressive homesteading creative chapter.
There's a cat highway, you guys.
There's a super cat highway. So we're just
and a chicken coop.
Chicken coop.
Right here in the city.
All that.
It's pretty amazing.
And I dream of the next phase of how far I can take my little suburban farm every day.
You've got to meet my niece. She's got a chicken coop. She's the one with the bigger chickens.
Nice.
That I was talking about, and it's very similar. I'm interested in the homesteading.
We could do a whole podcast about it together.
Yeah, oh, yes. Can we?
Yeah.
Oh, you heard it here first, people.
We have a grapevine out there. I'm like, should I be making wine? What else can I do? So, there's blackberries. So I'm just my mind just feels really creative and open right now. So I'm thinking about how to homestead harder.
How cool. My son has to talk to me. Did you have something to say, son? Do you have to say it right now? What's up?
I just forgot it because you weren't listening.
I apologize. I was trying to be courteous with the conversation. You know how that is. If it comes back, you can just let me know, all right?
Yeah.
All right, thanks, kid. I love you. All right, well, before we wrap things up, that was awesome. Huge shout out.
I also want to give a shout out to Brandon, who's literally I shouldn't say the best student, but I would say top 5, one of the best students I've ever had. So thank you for having me on the podcast, and thank you for inspiring the other students when you come to class. And he's a good listener, follows directions. It's amazing to teach Brandon at yoga. I love it.
Thank you so much. And it's amazing to learn from you. I, too, have had a lot of not great teachers and mentors in my past. So when I see them, I hold on to them. So you're special, and I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Before we go, huge shout outs to MJ's Collectibles. If you're into vinyl or collectibles, you'll find them inside the Aurora Mall at Nerds Kingdom. Also, Property Pals Limited for all your commercial cleaning needs. And don't forget, if you've got a business, talent, event, or passion project worth talking about, hit me up at messagemyhub@gmail.com. You might just end up here on the hub. Jenny, once again, seriously, thank you. Watching you teach it does remind me a lot of what teaching should be like, and it's really amazing. Thank you for opening your home to us. Thanks for sharing your story, which I had no idea was that deep or cool. And thanks for helping people move a little bit better and probably live a little bit better too.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for listening to my story and having me on the show.
Heck yeah. And if you folks out there have enjoyed today's conversation, please subscribe. Leave a review, tell a friend, keep supporting passionate people doing incredible things, because every interesting person has a story and every story has a hub. We'll see you next time. To everybody listening, thank you for hanging out with us once again, and remember, take it light and it won't ever get too heavy. Be peace, baby.
Yes. I loved it. That was so fun.